He could feel it inside his skull, the tension of little threads being pulled, and how it was with tangled things, things tied up together. And as he tried to pull them apart and rewind them into their places, they snagged and tangled even more. So Tayo had to sweat through those nights when thoughts became entangled. He had to sweat to think of something that wasn't unraveled or tied in knots of the past, something that existed by itself, standing alone like a deer. So what is the matter with Tayo? What's going on in his life? We know that he has a very real physical ailment. We know that he is vomiting. He can't sleep. When he does, he's having hallucinations. He has hallucinations during the day. The light hurts his eyes. He hears voices. So he's going through all of this in the physical realm, but what's going on to him in the spiritual, mental realm? Well, a lot of things. First and foremost, he has survivor guilt. Remember, Rocky was the chosen one. Rocky was the one who was going to do something amazing. So when Rocky was left behind in Japan, when he died in Japan, and Tayo had to come back alone, Tayo, the hybrid child, the one that Auntie was embarrassed of, to be part of her family, that survivor guilt was huge because Tayo had promised he was going to bring Rocky home. He also has guilt he feels that the drought that's existing in New Mexico was because of his cursing of the rain in Japan. He felt that he had cursed the rain away, and so it was no longer on his land. We also know that Tayo is experiencing extreme alienation on many fronts. On the family front, he experiences alienation from Auntie. Rocky is the chosen one. Auntie favors Rocky. And they have their own system of working even in terms of when they're all together, how Auntie sort of puts Tayo down, puts him in his place where she won't answer his questions fully. But for Rocky, it's everything. We also see that Tayo experiences alienation in Japan, where he's shooting at people who look like him, who look like his family. And he can't reconcile that with his mind. They're connected. They're part of the web of his family. So he doesn't get that. Then he also experiences alienation in the white world. When he puts on the uniform, suddenly he's somebody. He's wearing a military uniform. He's no longer an Indian from the reservation. Women want to be with him. People want to celebrate him in the bars. And when he comes home to the reservation, when he's not wearing that uniform, people don't look at him the same. Even when he's not wearing the uniform in LA, when we see him at the train depot, people don't look at him the same. He's just an Indian then. So it's this extreme alienation, it's a survivor guilt, and these physical ailments, which maybe these psychological and spiritual conditions help to create these physical ailments. But his illness is a very real illness that he's facing. And it could be related to PTSD, perhaps, because he saw a lot of horrific things. He carried the body of Rocky until they could carry it no longer. And he had to leave Rocky behind in the rain, in the mud. And that's a really tough thing to deal with. So yes, his symptoms are very real, but what medicine is going to be effective? Is it going to be the white man's medicine, or is it going to be the old ways? Is it going to be the ceremony? And that's the crux of ceremony. What's going to heal Tayo?